Yeah.
You don't like lying to kids about Santa? Explain that.
I think there's enough lying in our society. I've had problems with lying my whole life, but I've had to really, really work on it to not be like a chronic liar. And I don't like the idea of showing them purposeful lies that are okay when they're kids. I don't think that that's a good thing to do. I don't understand how it benefits the kids. I like the idea of believing in some kind of magic. I like fantasy. I like those kind of things. I like the idea that maybe there's aliens out there. I don't know, but I like the idea. I get liking the idea, but I don't understand purposefully lying to children just to lie to them. It when I was a kid, they didn't. There was a specific time when I was probably 7, and my dad, they never did Santa Claus. That was not a thing that we did. And he said, "Okay, you've got a choice. You can either get Santa Claus, get gifts from Santa Claus if you believe that he's real, or you can get gifts from me. Which one do you want?" And I said, "Okay, I'll take you." And there's enough other magic in the world, enough other ways to dream, and other ways to hope that I don't think you need something in your society that's specifically just a lie. I I don't think that's a good thing.
Interesting. I'm the Scrooge, and I disagree with you.
Okay, I would love to hear your arguments. I've argued with this a lot with a lot of people.
I don't think it's a lie just to lie.
Okay,
Um, I was just talking with my friend about this. I would do Christmas completely different than I think most people would do.
okay,
And that is like, I would do Christmas gifts in the morning, traditional, whatever. And then I would have a family prayer of gratitude, you know, to
I got it.
actually focus Christmas on what it should be, which is gratitude, not greed. Um, but I think that Santa is a great life lesson, and it's a
Interesting.
great introductory to, like, I believe in Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ and God are difficult concepts to grab for children, but children can really grasp things like magic and Santa and being good to be on the nice list, you know? And so to me, it's not that different to say you need to be a good person so you can be on the nice list as it is to say be a good person so that you can have eternal life and be with Jesus Christ. You know, I'm going to be judged one day for all of my sins, you know, and that's not that different than saying Santa's going to judge me every year. And it's just a simpler concept for children to grasp, as well as give them that sense of magic and wonder. And like, I'm a Scrooge. Yeah, I hate Christmas. It is all about greed in this day and age, and it's way overplayed and it's commercialized to unbelievable levels. Um, but I still have great memories waking up as a kid, and my family had a tradition where all our bedrooms were on the top floor, and we could not go down and even see the Christmas tree until after everybody was awake and gathered together, right? So, what a magical moment to wake up. One year, we were waiting in my sister's room, and there were literally a giant herd of deer in my yard, right? So, we were just sitting and watching the deer while we were waiting for my brothers who were too cool for Christmas to wake up and walk upstairs, you know, because their room was in the basement. And it just it's something bigger, right? Like my family was not super wealthy. We did fine, but Like, I never really thought that my parents could get me a bike or whatever, but maybe Santa could, you know. Maybe this other entity could intervene and do that and help me have those things that I want and wish for.
Did that disappoint you when your parents couldn't afford to get you a bike, so Santa didn't get you a bike,
No,
even
because
though,
I'm a person who's been trained my entire life not to be an inconvenience financially.
okay,
So, because my parents didn't have to pay for it, I was not inconveniencing my parents. In reality, I was, but to me, I didn't have guilt over it.
but what I'm saying is like if you still couldn't get the bike, so your parents just can't afford to give you a bike. They just can't. So instead of getting the bike, the thing that you wrote to Santa, "Dear Santa, I really want a bike." You don't get that bike. Do you feel like Santa gypped you because you got a scooter instead or whatever, not a bike. Something smaller, cheaper. No?
No, no.
Okay.
I think that that is a risk that you are taking with that, for sure, true. But I think in those moments, you really need to focus Christmas on what it is actually about because it's not about what you get. Yes, those moments for me when I was a kid were magical. And it was awesome to see my siblings get what they asked for and do the Christmas thing. I'm simply saying that was a filled with Christmas magic moment.
But doesn't the very fact of Santa Claus lean towards the what did I get aspect? 'Cause Santa Claus in most things is more giving gifts, all that kind of stuff, and you have the Christmas magic that's connected to it. One of the reasons I like Klaus as much as I do is because I feel like it's more about the Christmas magic and less and the gifts happen to increase the Christmas magic. It's a weird balance that I really haven't seen in much of anything else. But with traditional Santa, it's I write a letter. Oh, Santa, I want a bike. Oh,
I
Santa, I want
disagree with that
whatever it
completely
is. Okay, tell me why.
because it's all about the naughty or nice list,
Interesting. Okay.
right? So it's I need to be a good person, so I get on the nice list, right? Like I said, very basic introductory to morality for children, right? It's a great lesson that way.
Do you
Very easy to understand.
was that incorporated into your family's tradition significantly? Because I don't see that with a lot of families. I see, well, write to Santa and you'll get a gift, and not nearly as much of the talking about the naughty or nice list. Even with friends that
My
I have
family
that do
never
this kind
talked
of
about
thing.
the naughty or nice list, but I think it's a big part of it, right? In Violent Night, he has the list. He pulls it open and he's like, "Oh, they're on the naughty list." Like it's just something that was always there.
Yeah, I get that. It's in the movies a lot, but is it actually incorporated into our society that much? So are children really learning the lesson?
Elf on the Shelf.
Explain what you mean with Elf on the Shelf, because usually that's just
Elf
finding
on
the
the
elf.
Shelf's the whole thing is Santa's watching.
Okay, that's true.
So
That's
be
true.
nice, right? I
That's true.
personally hate Elf on the Shelf. I despise it. I think it is a terrible thing to add to Christmas.
But it
But
shows it being part of our
it
society.
shows that it is incorporated, right, to some degree. Um, but yeah, it's a great lesson, right? So you're a kid, you get introduced into morality and right and wrong, and that there's something bigger than yourself and a reason to do it. Um, you grow older, you find out that it's not true. You get a really good lesson on the real world. Um, not everything is what it seems. Not everything is what it's made out to be, and people lie. As weird as it is, I think it's an important thing to learn that people lie. And I think that that's the right age for kids to learn that lesson, right? Um, that people lie and things aren't always true. Um, and then you can get into it may not be true, but it's still a loving family time, bring people together. Like that's the way I feel about it. I think it's a good thing. And I think the timing for it works out for people, raise kids, believe in Santa, morality, basic levels, people lie right at the right time where you should be starting to learn that.
That is you put it better than anyone else that I've talked to this about, and I respect you a lot. I like the opinion. Do you think, and I'm not as much of this mind. This doesn't bug me quite as much as I think it does a lot of people. But do you think that Santa takes away from Christ in any way and puts the focus
No,
more on Santa instead of Christ?
nope, absolutely not. I think people
Okay.
do.
Okay. Tell me what you mean.
Well, people put more emphasis on the gifts, right? Like I said, if I had a significant other and I had kids, right, I would do Christmas differently because I would want it focused more on Christ. So I would do a family prayer after gifts to say, this is what it's about. It's about the gratitude. It's not about that.
Just
It's
make
the
sure that it's
people,
focused.
yeah, it's the people that go out there and do that. It's the people that make Thanksgiving so unbearable, right? It's the people who say, great, we had dinner, can't wait to go maul people for Black Friday. Not that that really happens anymore, but you know,
Used to.
it's the people and it's greed that get in the way. There's nothing inherently greedy or antichrist about Santa.
It's the people.
It's the people that kind of make it that way, you know. I, you can take it to the extreme, right? I have seen it where, parents will be, well, you better be nice to your sister or Santa's going to give you a lump of coal for Christmas, right? I don't think using Santa as guilt
That's
is
like
necessarily a
blackmail.
good call. Um,
I
I
also
also
don't
don't
like.
think that using Jesus as guilt is a good call,
I don't
but
like that either, but that happens a lot.
it does happen a lot, and you know, but there's nothing like I think Santa in its whole, like the way that it is on its own, is Klaus,
Okay.
right? Santa's a magical figure, wants to go give good kids who did good deeds throughout the year, presents, gifts as a thank you for their good deeds, and
Make the world a little better place.
make the world a little bit better and bring people up. And like, I have no qualms about saying I hate Christmas. Christmas is terrible, um, because of all the reasons I just said, right? But there is still something very, very magical to this day and age where I'm 28 now, where on Christmas morning it is just a happier day, right? I used to work grave shift and I would intentionally pick to work those days so that I wouldn't have to be around the obligations that are Christmas, but I would still find myself walking outside on patrol. I was a security guard and just enjoying how abnormally quiet the world was, right? And you still just get that even as an adult. There is Christmas magic in the air, whether you're a kid or you're older. It's it is just a different day. As much as I always say, well, it's just a Wednesday. Um, Everybody knows it's not, right? Stores aren't open. People are with their families and loved ones. People are doing good things, right? Yes, there are people who are out there being greedy. Yes, there are people who are throwing a tantrum right now because I wanted Call of Duty for Christmas and you got it on the Xbox and not the PlayStation. Um, yeah, that's not great, but I don't blame Santa for people being greedy. Greed is a natural human emotion, and it's emphasized today, but it's not because of Santa. I think it's because people aren't focused enough on gratitude.
That's very true, man. We don't focus nearly enough on gratitude or, well, everything's Klaus is about. Everything Klaus
Yeah,
is really about.
yeah. And Klaus is absolutely amazing at what it is. Like, please, listeners, watch Klaus. I
Watch it.
cannot see anybody not enjoying this movie.